Hey everyone, welcome to week 3 of ELA. It's our last week together. Hopefully it has been a summer adventure. If not, hopefully you've at least learned something that'll help you in the fall. We started talking about, or my first draft of my summer adventure was based on the original prompt of tell me about a memorable summer experience. As I explained in the last series of videos, this ended up being a pretty brief overview of just a summer experience that I had at my grandmother's. This original piece of writing did not have narrative structure per se throughout, nor was it narrowly focused on one particular scene or episode of this summer or even this span of time. So I want to start working toward how I moved in that direction, and I want to show you the steps of how I did that. You'll recall from our last series of videos that the first thing I simply did was I took the description that I wrote about my experience at my grandmother's and the meaningful summer experience, and I wrote it out, drafted it out in narrative structure. And I went ahead and just let that serve as the final draft. Certainly with writing, and it's always going to be the case in writing where you can continuously revise and edit and continuously polish. With this one, based on time and based on my purpose of what I was looking to achieve, I decided to go ahead and leave this as is. I've already been over this. We're not going to go any further into it, but I'm just going to point out one thing, and that is this idea of sleeping as late as I want that I discuss here, and also throw in at the very end, oops, passed it. I put a little reference here. I ended up pulling my first all-nighter. Go ahead and highlight that. All right, here it is. I ended up pulling my first all-nighter. Okay, that's significant because what I decided to do in the narrative that I drafted for this Monday, for the exercise I was asking you guys to do for Monday, is I ended up rewriting my entire narrative based on that one scene of staying up all night. I just thought it was an impactful, meaningful, and interesting story. So instead of just this general, oh, this is what I did at my grandmother's, and yay, had a lot of food, and it was great, and I slept late, to me, that's not so interesting. The all-nighter was a more gripping story and more something that would be relatable, I think, to you guys. So I ended up making a full-on narrative about that, and I wanted to share that with you guys. So again, I took one, let me exit this out. I took one scene from this sort of overall narrative, which was building on the summer experience write-up, and I actually ended up writing a whole narrative just on that one aspect, that one scene. We talk about narratives being very narrowly focused, based on being one scene from your summer and building off of that. So I'm not going to read this to you. I am going to post this on our class page for you guys to look at. Please look at it. Actually, it's going to be one of your assignments. And you can see how I wrote this out. This is the first draft. This draft ended up being 2 full pages, single spaced. Notice I'm not using MLA format here. I'm just making it look like a story with the title, my name right underneath, single spacing, use of white space. You don't have to use MLA format for this. Word count is 1176. So this is my first draft of what I ended up calling Mission Complete, which talks about my challenge and the dare from my cousin and of him always one-upping me and pulling the all-nighter and staying up all night being an example of an instance where I was motivated to do something so I could be on his level. I'm also going to post that was my first draft, what I just showed you guys. I'm also going to post my second draft, which in this case, based on time and based on my goals and purpose, will likely serve as the final. Like I said earlier, any piece of writing you do can always be further polished, changed, improved. There's a perfect narrative essay out there, but you probably are never going to get to it, nor am I, nor is anybody else that's not named Shakespeare or Hemingway. So let's just, based on our goals and purpose, let's just do the best we can with the time that we have. So same with you guys. I'm not stressing out about some perfect narrative essay. I just mainly want you guys to go through the process and benefit from going through that process. So for me, I renamed it Mission Accomplished. I cleaned up quite a bit. I could take out a lot more. This ended up being, let's see, review, word count. This ended up being about the same amount of word count, which surprised me because I felt like it was a lot shorter. I was going through this thing and slicing it up and trying to make it more concise, and then ended up adding some more descriptive details in certain sections that made it almost just as long. So I want you to take a look at this. For your assignment today, I'm going to ask you to compare this Mission Accomplished second draft, which again is going to serve for me as a final draft. I want you to compare it to the draft one, which is Mission Complete. And I want you to make note of all the differences. Do you think it's improved? Do you think it's worse? What type of improvement do you think I was looking for? What type of changes did I make? And what do you think the purpose was behind those? And as always, do you think certain words and rephrasing and more powerful and impactful imagery and words were effective or not effective? And also, if you would cut out a section if you had to have this fall below 1,000 words and you had to cut out one of these paragraphs, what would you do? So I'm going to post that for you guys. Take a look at it just as a mentor text. And that's all I have for you today. Hopefully you have a great day. We'll be talking later. See ya.